one of the people that is featured on that Legacy Edition pack um, is my grandfather, which is my dad's dad, Cleophas Roper, also known as Sugar Pie. And one of the unfortunate things about my grandfather was he loved fishing, but he was actually murdered while fishing. And my dad, you was pretty young when that happened, right?
Yeah, I was about 6 years old.
Yep. And so, but just share a little bit about your dad. Do you remember him fishing or?
Yeah, I remember Dad used to just love to. We always call them back then white perch
Right.
because we didn't really know the name. But Dad used to always bring big wide white perch home, and every time he would want to go fishing, we always would be gathering our poles. And he asked, "Where y'all going?" "We going with you, Dad. We want to fish." So we really had the fishing at heart because Dad used to love to fish.
Right. And so after Granddad um, died, back then the saying "it takes a village to raise a child" that was alive and well. We don't really see it that much now, but that was alive and well, and there were some key men that filled that role. One, he wasn't a fisherman, but one guy we always want to make sure we mention his name is Dr. J.F. Cooley.
Dr. J.F. Cooley.
He was Dad's mentor and basically filled that father figure role after Granddad died. But another community man that was very, very, very esteemed in our community, who was also featured on this Legacy Edition pack, is Mr. Gamble.
Mr. Gamble.
Mr. Gamble. They share
L. Porter Gamble.
L. Porter Gamble.
Yeah.
Share with the people about Mr. Gamble.
Well, he had a farm, and he was a big farmer, and also that we used to work for him. But on the weekend, Mr. Gamble used to take his bus and fill the bus up with people that wanted to go fishing. He'd always would want to take us to a place called Bisco. That's on the other side of Brinkley. And the bus be full. And when we catch the fish there, the lake was so designed where if you catch your fish, you can clean your fish and cook it right there. And even that made the community very much close together. So we stuck together so close because we wanted to make sure we go fishing.
And Mr. Gamble lived way up into his 90s. He died just a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing was that I got to know him and know him very well. And I would ask him, when I'm around those elders, especially even now, I ask them tons of questions because, Dad, you said that a lot of the knowledge, a lot of the wisdom
Yes.
is in the grave.
Is in the grave.
And we've never extracted that out of them, or it was never passed down. So I'm grateful for those things that he shared with us. But also another person that's featured on that pack, you're going to see a man holding up a stringer of crappie. And Mr. Gamble introduced y'all to this man.
Right. That was Robert Granberry.
Robert Granberry. I've heard a lot of stories about Robert Granberry. Share just a little bit more about Mr. Granberry.
Robert, he had his own business in Forest City, and he used to replace windshields in cars. And so every time we hear anything in the community about fishing, Robert's name always come up. So we got a chance to meet him, and there was another guy that was close with him, which his name was Bohammer, Pete Bohammer, and then there was Baby June. So I just started hanging out with those guys, and then he taught me so much because he was a man of the community that wanted to pour into us because we were so young. And he said, "I want y'all to learn how to fish. I want you to do this, do that." And so I guess out of 3 or 4 days a week, he would fish. And then you ask, "Well, how in the world did he do that when he don't, he had a business?" Well, he found time to do his business, but his ultimate goal was to fish. And you can tell by the stringer that you would see the featured here that he knowed how. And all we want to carry us to one place. That place called The hole in the wall. The hole in the wall. And we talking about slabs. We didn't really too much talk about slabs back then. We just talked about huge, big, wide white fish. And then we learned later on they was called crappies.
Yeah, the hole in the wall. We'll probably talk more about the hole in the wall because that is a place that I always heard growing up about the hole in the wall. So yeah, it sounds like a magical place.
Yeah.
And it's just more stories. So we're going to share more of this in the next segment. This is going to be part 3 of our discussion about our legacy edition jig pack that we are featuring for Black History Month. And so stay tuned. You don't want to miss it.